Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel, The Unplanned Life. I have only been in this particular notebook and notebook covers since the 24th of November 2020, as you can see written right here on the title page, which by the way, this is no longer an anti-planner because I have started planning in it on November 30 and I'm continuing to plan on it and I plan to plan on it for the foreseeable future. So I am now renaming it as a catch-all. You can see me doing that renaming right here on this video. I have videos about me setting up this particular notebook on my channel and I will link it down below. It is only December 21, you guys, right now as I am filming this video, and at this point I am already almost done writing on the pages of the notebook. Here is the last page that's been written on. You can see a glimpse of it here, and these pages right after it, these are the only ones that are blank. I'm going through this notebook so fast because I have been doing my morning pages in it starting November 30 as part of my morning routine. And also, I also have my nighttime journal entries on it. And both the morning pages and the nighttime journal entries I find very beneficial to me. Someday in a future video, I hope to talk about my morning and evening routines. So, because I feel that I will be finishing up my current notebook in maybe a week or two, I don't know, I have decided to prepare a new notebook. This would be my fifth bound notebook since I started using bound notebooks on around the middle of December 2019. This here is yet another notebook from the Unplanned Life with a serial number 058. This serial number is special to me because it's alongside the serial numbers of the notebooks that I have made for 5 of my classmates from the comparative literature classes in the University of the Philippines, and they have become some of my closest friends. Serial number 054 is Oji Braga, 055 is Luella Fortes, 056 is Mads Ginto, 057 is Ray Hontanar, and 058 is me right here in this particular notebook, and the assignment of the serial numbers are alphabetically according to last names. Now, my catch-all is heavily reliant on tabs, as you can see here, and the tabs are made of paper. I have a video about my tabs in my channel and I will link it down below. And to protect the tabs from getting squished, because that's what eventually happens to tabs, I have put in a cardboard sheet here that extends beyond the foredge of the actual notebook, as you can see here in my current notebook, and I did the same thing for my next notebook, both in the front and in the back. By the way, if you can hear those dogs in the background, those are the dogs of the house that is right across from our house. That house is extremely noisy. The dogs are very noisy all day long. The adults are very noisy some parts of the day, but every day they make noise. And the children are noisy almost the entire day. So I'm trying to be patient with it. And let's move on. As for the cover, this particular one was calling out to me. This is the blue gingham from the 2018 Hobonichi lineup, which I purchased in 2017. And I have an unboxing video of that haul, which I will also link in the description box. I chose this notebook cover because the first 3 Hobonichi notebook covers that I used were floral and kind of had an informal, non-symmetrical design, quite dramatic. The alphabet maze had wooden blocks on it, but the arrangement of the blocks were not even, which is part of the concept, and it was dark, and it was an actual photograph printed onto the cover material. This time I was hankering for straight lines, right angles, and very simple colors. I think this cover fits the bill perfectly for what I am aiming for. Now, I have always made extra ribbon page markers for my bound notebooks since August of this year. And these are the ones in my current notebook. I made 4 extra ribbon page markers and I'm using all 4. I have a video of how I made these and I will link it down below. For my new notebook cover, I will also add extra ribbon page markers. I have prepared beads of 3 different colors for the ribbon page markers. These were actually the only colors I could find that were a decent match to this cover. I have a pink, which isn't the exact same pink as the pink on the inside of the cover, but it will have to do. Then I have a white one and then this black one because I could not find a dark blue one, so this will have to do. And for the actual ribbon, I am using this narrow satin ribbon that's white to match the white on the cover. If you have been on my channel long enough, you already know how I do this, but to just give you a brief look at the process, I cut down 3 strips of this white satin ribbon because I want to add 3 ribbon page markers this time, and I use extra strong Elmer's glue and a brush, plus 2 of my thickest books that I could find within easy reach to prop up the notebook spine side up so I can work on it easily. And then I glue the ribbons to the upper part of the spine of the notebook side by side, like so. And then I add more glue on top of that. And then immediately I have this small piece of fabric, the same fabric that I use on the spines of all of the Unplanned Life notebooks. And I put glue very generously all over one side of the strip of fabric like so, and then carefully placed it over the part of the spine where the ribbons are to further secure the ribbons into place. And then I take a little bit more glue and secure the entire thing even more, and then I leave the notebook to dry in front of an electric fan. I'm also going to use another cover on cover for the blue gingham. This is the Hobonichi Basic cover on cover. This is still brand new and I have labeled it as cover on cover 3. I have a video on my channel on how I made these labels and why, and I will link that video below. The cover on my current notebook right here is still perfectly okay, but I decided to use a brand new one for the new notebook because I have a theory. Remember what people say about shoes, and that if you have 2 pairs that you alternate using for about a year, each pair will last 5 times as long than if you just use one pair of shoes all year long. I think that theory is true, and I know that from experience. I don't know if that same theory applies to cover on covers. Of course, these are not these are not shoes, but let's see. It sounds silly, but I want to try it out, and I'll give you an update. Okay, now the glue on the additional ribbon page markers is already completely dry at this point, and I can finally put the notebook into the notebook cover and the cover and cover that's already on it. As you can see, the cover here doesn't have the gray spine visible on the front and back. It's because I accidentally spilled something on the cover and I wanted to cover it up, so I just glued on one layer of cardstock over the front and the back covers. Now they also have some specks on them that look like dirt, but I have already tried to clean them out with an eraser and they are not coming out anymore. And if that's the case, they probably won't come off on the cover, so I guess that's okay. At any rate, I always wash my covers after using them so I can catch any dirt and stains before I put the cover back into storage later on when I am done using it. So I won't obsess about that. I won't worry. Now let us work on the ribbon page markers. It was pretty easy to thread each bead through the narrow ribbon Once I have cut the end of the ribbon to a sharp point, I made sure that the beads would be aligned with the rectangle and the triangle that's at the end of the original ribbon page markers, the pink ones right here. And when I have the location set, I just made 2 knots on each ribbon, and that is it. I just had to cut off the excess ribbon, and it was very quick and easy. And now I have a total of 5 ribbon page markers in this setup. The 3 white ones that I added and the 2 pink ones that already came with the cover. Next, I wrote down the usual information on the title page of the notebook, which is really just the first page. I am using my favorite pen, the Pelikan M400 White Tortoise, with an extra fine nib, but it writes like a medium, and it is loaded with diamine majestic purple. I couldn't write a start date on this one yet because I don't know when I'm going to move in, but I did write the names of the covers I am using with the notebook. And the last thing to add to the setup would be the tabs for the content. This catch-all system is heavily dependent on tabs. I have already listed these sections right down here in this sticky note in more or less the order in which I want them to be at this point. And these tabs, these things or items that are written down here on these sticky notes, these are my actual sections. I also noted down how many pages to use for each section. Now in a future video before the end of 2020, I will have a longer video about how this catch-all works, the tabs, plus a reference booklet, which is going to be part of the system starting with this new notebook. I will talk about that with more detail in a different video, but I got this idea of having a reference notebook from Planning Annie, and I will leave a link to that specific video of hers in the description box. But for now, this reference booklet is not yet finalized, but I will just put it on the back of the notebook cover right here so I can have easy access to it whenever I need it. I made this booklet out of Elias paper and cardstock, and the binding is stitched, but I covered the stitching up with that silver washi tape, and I cut the booklet down to be slightly narrower or slimmer than the standard A5 so it can fit in with the entire setup without hitting the main notebook, as you can see here in this view. Okay, now the last task in doing this setup is putting the tabs on. I put this guide beside me on the desk. It's just a sticky note, like I said, and then took out my pre-cut tabs, which is Elias paper, same as the paper on the notebook itself, so that everything will match and look organic. And then I just wrote these sections down on the tabs, and then I used a glue stick to glue the tab onto the right place. You might notice that I am placing the number 1 at the end of each word on each tab, and that is because when that section is already filled out, I simply go to the next empty page of the notebook and tab it using the same word but with a number 2 on the tab. That way I'll know that that page is a continuation of the information written on the previously tabbed one. I hope this makes sense. I'll explain it more in the future video. Now, let me just take this opportunity to invite you all to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click on the notification bell. I upload new videos not once a week, but at least 3 times a week. So make sure you get the notifications because there's a lot that you can watch out for or watch for. I also have over 400 videos on my channel by now, so please stay and have a look around because I'm sure you will find some that you will like. I make videos about planners and planning systems and notebooks and fountain pens and inks and papers and pencils and erasers. I also have vlogs on this channel, and I have just recently started a podcast, so please consider subscribing and staying around for a while if you have the time. And after all of the tabbing has been done, it's actually not yet done, because as you can see, the back of the tabs are completely blank, and it's harder for me to foresee what's written on the front of the tab if the back of the tab is facing me. So what I do, which is what I have also been doing in my current notebook, is to write the exact same information on the back of the tab but using a pencil. So it will be gray. So when I see that, it will mean that it's the back of the tab, and the actual page that I want to go to is on the flip side of that tabbed page. And after doing all that, the notebook is completely set up finally and ready for me to start to use anytime. I'm really looking forward to moving into this notebook. I think the cover looks so simple and fresh and crisp, and I like all of the white that's in it, and the straight lines and the right angles and the very regular pattern is a nice change from the usual slightly dramatic ones that I have used in the past. I've never used this cover before, and I'm glad I'll be putting it to good use now. And that is my video for you today. Thanks for watching. Bye.